welcome to the English Learning Podcast. I'm Jason, your host, and today we have an exciting topic that will help you boost your fluency in English. We're talking about how speaking fast can actually help you become more fluent.
That's right, Jason. Hi, everyone. I'm Julia, your co-host. Today, we'll explore why speaking faster can improve your English skills, how native speakers do it naturally, and most importantly, how you can practice speaking faster with confidence.
Absolutely. Many learners believe that speaking slowly is the best way to improve. But in reality, speaking faster forces your brain to think in English and react more naturally, just like native speakers.
And don't worry, we're not saying you should rush your words and sound unclear. Instead, we'll share techniques to help you think quickly, reduce hesitation, and speak fluently while maintaining clarity.
By the end of this episode, you'll have practical exercises to train yourself to speak faster and sound more natural in conversations. So, if you're ready, let's dive right in. All right, Julia, let's start with the big question. Why does speaking fast help with fluency? Many learners think that speaking slowly is better because it gives them more time to think. What do you think?
That's a great question, Jason. Speaking slowly can be helpful when you're just starting. But if you want to sound fluent and natural, you need to train your brain to think and respond quickly in English. When you speak faster, you stop translating in your head, and that's a key step to fluency.
Exactly. And think about how native speakers talk. They don't pause after every word to think about grammar. Instead, they speak in chunks or phrases that naturally flow together.
Yes. And when you train yourself to speak faster, you start using English more automatically. Your brain gets used to forming sentences quickly, just like how you speak your native language without thinking about every word.
That's a great point. And there's actually some science behind this. Studies show that when we speak quickly, our brains become more efficient at processing language. It's like a workout for your brain.
Right, it's similar to riding a bike. At first, you go slowly to keep your balance. But once you get comfortable, you start pedaling faster and moving smoothly. It's the same with speaking English.
That's a perfect example. And another reason fast speaking helps is because it reduces overthinking. Many English learners hesitate because they're afraid of making mistakes. But when you practice speaking faster, you focus more on expressing ideas instead of worrying about grammar.
That's so true, Jason. And let's not forget confidence. Have you ever noticed that confident speakers tend to speak faster? When you train yourself to speak quickly, you start sounding more natural and self-assured. Exactly.
So to sum up, speaking fast helps fluency because it stops you from translating in your head, helps your brain process English more efficiently, builds confidence, reduces overthinking. It trains you to speak naturally like native speakers. Now that we understand why speaking fast improves fluency, let's dive into the science behind it. Julia, have you ever wondered why some people can speak multiple languages fluently while others struggle?
Yes, I've always been curious about that. I've heard that the way our brain processes language plays a huge role. What's the science behind it?
Great question. When we speak a language, our brain works like a high-speed processing machine. It quickly connects words, grammar, and meaning to form sentences. And guess what? The faster we speak, the more our brain gets used to doing this automatically, just like muscle memory.
That makes sense. It's like when we first learned to type on a keyboard. At first, we look at the keys and type slowly. But as we practice, our fingers automatically know where the letters are, and we type faster without thinking.
Exactly. Scientists have actually studied this. They found that when people force themselves to speak faster, their brain adapts by shortening response time. That means it learns to think and respond in English without hesitation.
Wow! So, does that mean speaking faster helps the brain get used to English as a natural language instead of something we have to translate every time?
Yes. And here's something even more interesting. Our brains love patterns. Native speakers don't think about individual words, they think in phrases or chunks. That's why speaking faster helps. When we speak fast, our brain stops breaking sentences apart and instead processes them as a whole.
That's so cool. And I've noticed that when I listen to native speakers at normal speed, it seems too fast at first. But when I listen more often, my brain gets used to it and I understand faster.
Exactly. Listening to fast speech trains your brain to process language quicker. That's why learning through fast conversations and shadowing native speakers is so powerful.
I love that. So the key takeaway is when we train ourselves to speak faster, our brain speeds up language processing, making English more natural and automatic.
Yes. And next, we'll share practical techniques you can use to train yourself to speak English faster without losing clarity. Stay tuned. All right, now that we know why speaking faster helps fluency, let's talk about some practical techniques to help our listeners train themselves to speak faster. Julia, what's the first method that comes to mind?
The first one I always recommend is shadowing. It's a powerful technique where you listen to native speakers and repeat exactly what they say as fast as they say it, with the same rhythm and pronunciation.
That's a fantastic method. It forces you to keep up with natural speech speed and helps you absorb native pronunciation and sentence flow. Plus, it stops you from thinking in your native language.
Exactly. If you do this every day for just 5 to 10 minutes, you'll notice a big improvement in your speaking speed. And a great way to practice shadowing is with podcasts, audiobooks, or YouTube videos in English.
Great tip. Another technique that works well is speed drills. This is where you take a short sentence and say it slowly at first, then repeat it faster and faster until you reach your top speed without losing clarity.
Oh, I love this one. It helps train your mouth muscles to move faster while keeping your pronunciation clear. Here's a fun example. Try saying, "She sells seashells by the seashore." First slowly, then faster each time.
That's a classic tongue twister, but it's a great way to train fluency and pronunciation at high speed.
Yes. And another great technique is timed speaking. Set a timer for 1 minute, pick a topic, and try to talk nonstop without hesitating. At first, you'll pause a lot, but over time, you'll get faster and more confident.
That's a great challenge. It forces you to think quickly and express ideas without worrying too much about grammar. And you can even record yourself to track your progress.
Oh yes, recording yourself is so helpful. You can listen to your own speech, check where you slow down, and try again to improve speed and clarity.
Exactly. So let's summarize these 4 techniques that help you speak English faster. Shadowing, repeat after native speakers as fast as they talk. Speed drills, start slow, then increase speed gradually. Timed speaking, speak for 1 minute nonstop to train quick thinking. Recording yourself, listen back, and adjust for better fluency. Now that we've talked about techniques to speak faster, let's discuss something just as important: common mistakes learners make when trying to speak fast. Julia, what's one mistake you see often?
One of the biggest mistakes is sacrificing clarity for speed. Some learners try to speak fast but end up mumbling or skipping words, which makes their English hard to understand.
That's a great point. Speaking fast doesn't mean speaking unclearly. If your pronunciation becomes too messy, it defeats the purpose. Fluency is about smoothness, not just speed.
Exactly. That's why it's important to practice with speed control, gradually increasing your pace while keeping your pronunciation clear.
Another mistake I see is that some learners translate from their native language while speaking fast. This slows them down because they're thinking in one language and speaking in another.
Yes. That's why learning phrases and expressions as a whole is important. Instead of translating word by word, learners should focus on thinking directly in English.
Right. Another mistake is not pausing at the right places. Some people speak fast but never stop, making it difficult to follow their ideas.
That's so true. Pausing naturally, for example, after key points or before important words, makes speech sound more fluent and confident.
Great tip. And one last mistake is focusing too much on speed instead of natural rhythm. Speaking fast should still sound smooth and expressive, not robotic.
Yes, intonation and stress are super important. Even if you're speaking fast, you should still emphasize the right words and use a natural tone.
So let's summarize the top mistakes to avoid when speaking fast. Mumbling or skipping words, speed should not reduce clarity. Translating from your native language, think in English instead. Not pausing correctly, use natural pauses to improve flow. Focusing only on speed, not rhythm, maintain a natural, expressive tone. Now that we know what mistakes to avoid, let's talk about how to build a daily practice routine to make fast English speaking a habit. Julia, what's the first thing learners should do every day?
The first and most important habit is warm-up exercises for your mouth and tongue. Just like athletes stretch before running, your mouth needs warming up to speak smoothly.
Great tip. So what kind of warm-up exercises can learners do?
A simple one is tongue twisters. Spend 2 to 3 minutes repeating sentences like, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, or red leather, yellow leather. Start slowly, then speed up each time.
Perfect. Another daily practice is shadowing, which we mentioned earlier. But to make it a habit, learners should set a goal. For example, shadowing a native speaker for 5 minutes every day.
Yes. And to make it fun, they can use YouTube videos, TED Talks, or podcasts. Choose a speaker you like and try to copy their speech exactly.
Love it. Another great exercise is 1-minute speed talks. Pick a random topic and speak about it nonstop for 1 minute. Each time, try to speak a little faster while staying clear.
That's a fantastic challenge. You can even record yourself and listen back to check for improvements in speed and fluency.
Yes. And one more thing, learners should practice real conversations with a friend, a tutor, or even in online language groups. The more you practice speaking fast in real situations, the more natural it becomes.
Absolutely. So here's a simple daily routine to help you improve fast speaking. 2 to 3 minutes of tongue twisters for mouth warm-up. 5 minutes of shadowing a native speaker. 1 minute of speed talk. Pick a topic and speak fast without stopping. Real conversation practice. Talk with someone or use a speaking app. If you do this every day, your speaking speed and fluency will improve dramatically.
That's right. And up next, we'll wrap things up with final thoughts and encouragement. Stay with us. All right, Julia, we've covered a lot today. We talked about why speaking fast helps fluency, the science behind it, techniques to practice, mistakes to avoid, and daily exercises. So, what's the key takeaway for our listeners?
The most important thing is that fast speaking is a skill you can develop with practice. But remember, it's not just about speed. It's about clear, smooth, and confident speech.
Exactly. And to all our listeners, don't be afraid to make mistakes. The more you practice, the more natural and fluent your English will become.
That's right. So here's your challenge. Pick one technique from today and start practicing it every day. Whether it's shadowing, tongue twisters, or speed drills, just take action.
And if you found this podcast helpful, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like this episode, and share it with a friend who wants to improve their English. Also, leave a comment below and tell us. Backhand, index, pointing, right? What's your biggest challenge in speaking fast? We'd love to help.
Thanks for listening, and remember, keep practicing, keep speaking, and you'll get faster and more fluent every day. See you next time.
Take care, everyone, and happy learning.